Welcome to the Rude Dog Show. This is Rudy Reyes. Look, are you superstitious? Because I'm feeling a little superstitious today. Anyway, welcome to the Rude Dog Show. This is Rudy Reyes on WBLZSports.com. Good afternoon, everybody. Make sure you download the app, would you? Yeah, I'm feeling superstitious, Cecilius. You want to know why? Because I'm a believer, not a believer, a believer in the Chicago Bulls. Yes, today I'm feeling superstitious. I have my rabbit's foot. I have my frog skin. Okay, maybe not. Maybe I'll avoid the frogs altogether. But anyway, welcome. Tune in. Make sure you have the app. Make sure you download it. It's free. It's free. It should be for me and you. Anyway, you can download it from Google, iTunes, or therudedogshow.com. Look, whatever you're looking for in the NBA, if you weren't in front of your television, you may as well have been watching paint dry because you missed all the excitement. How could you? In advance, how could you? Look, last night's matchups have not been a matchup at all. D-Wade with a throwback performance, 22 points, 4 rebounds, 9 for 16, and there was a Rondo sighting. I know, you're probably wondering, well, he didn't show that since he was with the Celtics. Well, big difference. Big difference. He appeared before our own very eyes, 5 for 11, 9 rebounds, and 14 assists. This appears to be a replay of years past when you think of where he was playing at with the, well, team he's facing against now, and that is the Boston Celtics. The Celtics, I don't think, have an answer. But here to share why they could have an answer or why they can make this 2-1 is Justin. This guy does great things with Above the Rim podcast with Scoop B on Twitter. Welcome to the show, Justin. How are you?
Thank you, Rudy. I'm doing well. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for coming on in the last minute. I know we're on short of time for you, but when you looked at last night's game between Dwayne Wade throwing back when he was with the Heat, Rondo throwing back when he was with the Celtics, do you foresee this as maybe a sweep of the number 1 seed? And I might add, just for those that are listening, a very weak number 1 seed heading into the Eastern Conference Finals. Do you think that the Bulls have maybe some bullish thoughts about taking out the Celtics early?
It's very debatable. See, I won't go sweep because I feel like that's a little bit disrespectful to the number 1 seed Boston Celtics, and I do like Boston's team. I love the way that they play up and down. I love the way that they defend, but I can't go sweep with the Bulls. I'm still honestly picking the Celtics to win this series in 7. I think there will be a comeback, but a very slow comeback. I think the Celtics will take one of the next 2 games in Chicago. It has to be game 3, because if they go down 0-3, it's over for them, and then my pick reverses. But I think they would take game 3, game 4. I feel like they would lose. Chicago will be up 3-1. Get back to Boston game 5. I think Boston will take that. I think Boston will pull out a game 6 win and a game 7 upset, if you will. I mean, it might look like an upset now with the way the Bulls are playing. They're looking like a stronger team. They've been bullying the Celtics on the boards overall. They've been playing the bully ball. Like you said before, we got a nice Rondo sighting, a 08 Celtics Rondo sighting. Rondo, I don't know what he drank before the game, but man, he was intense last night, and I loved his intensity. I loved the way he played. But, Rudy, you told me one of my issues with the Celtics, my issue is their free agent off-season signings. I got to put this on Al Horford. Last night, 31 minutes, he had 7 points, 11 rebounds, and 5 assists. You got to give me more than 7 points from Al Horford. Am I wrong?
Well, look, Al Horford, I think, and I completely agree with you, one of the worst offseason acquisitions is Al Horford. Why? Because he's been so inconsistent, and he's shown it all regular season long. Look, Jimmy Butler with 19 for 22, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists. Look, this Bulls team is playing like a team that is possessed.
Yes.
I don't
Do you
think
see the trust that they have between each other?
Oh, absolutely.
Trust right now.
Well, you have to have the dichotomy. You have to have it. If you don't have it, you find yourself with the Celtics now 0-2. Look, all kudos given. If you don't believe in kudos, again, I'm feeling superstitious, so kudos, I think, play a part of that. But when you look at Isaiah Thomas with the loss of his sister, and my condolences to the Thomas family, but the way that he's playing, I think, from a personal standpoint, first of all, if I had lost my sister in an accident, I don't even know that I could play. But I'm not a professional athlete.
That's beyond that.
Exactly. You're taking years of growing up with someone that you build such a familiarity with to a point where even if they weren't related, heck, they may as well be your sister or your brother or maybe an uncle or cousin or so on and so forth. But he is playing with such passion right now that it's almost as if he's a one-man show. Now, I'm not going to take anything away from what these guys are doing, but it should be duly noted is what they are not doing. How Crowder's not getting the points that he should be with solid shot selection, and you could probably put this on a variety of sources. I mean, Isaiah Thomas 11 for 20 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists. But from a minute standpoint, do you think Isaiah Thomas can handle being the workhorse here in postseason play against a very, very good paint-owning, shot-blocking, point-scoring Chicago Bulls team?
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I think he played about 41 minutes last night, if I'm not mistaken. That's a lot of minutes for a miniature point guard, a 5'9" point guard, taking those blows that he takes when he does go to the rim, because he does get a lot of contact when he goes to the rim, even though he does get a lot of fouls called as well. The Bulls were bringing it to him. They were almost, in a way, daring him to take it to the paint, if you saw, especially towards the end of the game. Jimmy Butler, with his emphatic block that he got in the fourth quarter, it was just a statement block. And like you said, I don't feel like Isaiah Thomas is getting the proper help that he needs in order for this Boston Celtics team to advance. He can carry you through the regular season, but guys have to step up. Like I said before, Al Horford, 7 points, that's not going to get it done. Avery Bradley, I think he had about 12 points last night. That's not going to get it done. Jay Crowder, I think, had about 15 or 16. That's good enough. But when you think about it, who is the second best player on the Boston Celtics? I mean, the second best player has got to step up. You need a legitimate 2 or 3 options, 2 or 3 distinct options in order to advance in the playoffs. I feel like if you don't have 2 options, all 3 is a problem.
Well, you can't. Yeah, no, you're right. I completely agree with you. You have to have the supporting cast. Bench hasn't really been doing a whole lot for Boston either. I look at Marcus Smart as possibly being that guy. The problem is he's not quite there yet. He went 6 from 11 from the field. He had 13 points and 8 rebounds. Look, like I said, and you said it probably better than I, he needs help. I don't know how deep their bench is. I don't believe they have a solid bench. And in all fairness, as I said from the onset of the broadcast, I just don't believe that the Boston Celtics, you say that the Celtics will take it, that's fine. But the way that they're playing does not indicate that. The way that they're playing does not indicate that. It doesn't say we want to win this because of the lack of personnel. Right or wrong?
You're right. You're 100% right.
Okay, so who will step up in Game 3 in Chicago? Who? Tell me.
If I had a choice of who will step up, I still feel like Avery can do a little bit more. But once again, I'm going to have to go back to Al Horford. He's one of the few people on the Celtics roster who can attempt to get their own bucket. I mean, Al Horford should be able to get you 15 to 20 per night. When you think about the people who's guarding him, it was Bobby Portis, Robin Lopez, Mirotic. Those are not all-world stout defenders. So the fact that they're not all-world stout defenders tells me that your offensive game might be the problem, rather than what the Bulls are taking away from this. As a team, the Bulls are defending exceptional as a team, but it's more team defense, aside from their individual defenders Jimmy Butler, Rondo, and D Wade can play some defense in there as well. And they mostly lock down the guards of the Boston Celtics, which I feel they have been doing for the most part. And I don't know if you were watching TNT when Charles Barkley, he said the Celtics are an easy team to defend. He said he would double Isaiah Thomas every single possession and let one of those other guys beat him. And I thought about it, and he was 100% right. I mean, that's the formula that's out to defend the Celtics. That's the formula that's out, is to double up Isaiah or make it very difficult for Isaiah, make him shoot a bad percentage, which he did. It was about 40% he shot last night. And the rest of the team, they're going to falter. They don't have a lot of options. And you got to give kudos and credit to the Bulls. Their game plan, their defensive game plan, Freddie Hoiberg, exceptional. I got to give him a lot of credit. Carved up a nice game plan.
I look at the Celtics and I think to myself, you're right. The double teaming of Isaiah Thomas makes perfect and total sense. But what's interesting is that with a guy who can get inside of the paint, who can box out, who can clearly own that paint, they're doing it. They're doing it, and they're doing it well. They're doing it consistently. That's one of the things that the Bulls had been lacking. Okay, fine. So they had Derrick Rose. So Derrick Rose, part of the lineup, a welcome addition to the Bulls. But let's make no mistake here. His injury-prone ways of playing, because he's so explosive, because he has passion, and he shows it. And he shows it, but when he's healthy, he can show it. But when he's not, he's not. Does the Chicago Bulls, I know it's too early to talk about offseason, but when you talk about the Bulls and Derrick Rose, do they keep Derrick Rose? I mean, should he just pull a Tony Romo and go to broadcast like the NFL did and like he did? I mean, is there anything that can be said for the Bulls? Will they keep Derrick Rose, or should they maybe give him minimal time, and in turn, minimal time means minimal money?
Yeah, so you think that they should target Derrick Rose this offseason to bring him back to Chicago? You feel that might be a good look for them?
No, absolutely not. I think they should cut their losses and call it a day. Because right now, he's done absolutely nothing for them. Or any other team, for that matter, he's been on. How many times has he been injured? Knees, ankles.
A lot.
Probably more than anybody. He reminds me of Tony Romo in the NFL. That's why I used that parallel motion. You know what I'm talking about? A guy who just cannot stay injury-free. He's got injury history. It's a negative history. Tony Romo hurt his clavicle, his shoulder, his back more than once, concussions, things of that nature. Look, he's the Derrick Rose of the NFL. And now he's a Tony Romo of the NBA. Should Derrick Rose call it a day?
Listen, Derrick Rose going back to the Bulls, I think, would be a step back in a way for Chicago. Chicago doesn't need him anymore, which I honestly think this off-season, the Bulls are in for a shakeup. I think win or loss to this series, I think D Wade is going to opt out of that second year. I think he's going to bolt. He's going to leave. He'll have a lot of options. And honestly, I think they're going to trade Jimmy Butler. I mean, they tried to trade him before the deadline. That didn't work out. Ironically, it would have been to the Celtics, which is so ironic that they're playing them right now and beating them. But I think the Bulls have a lot of decisions to make this offseason. And if I were the Bulls GM, I would keep Jimmy Butler. I would keep Rondo. I probably would let D Wade go just to get more youth on the roster, youth at that guard position, but sometimes you need that veteran presence. I think D Wade has been an excellent veteran leader for Jimmy Butler this year. I think Jimmy Butler has taken another leap forward this year, starting out his career as a defensive stopper and now being an all-around superstar. And listen, that's the factor right there between the series. The Bulls have Jimmy Butler, and the Celtics don't. Isaiah Thomas is a smaller point guard, so he can't get into the lane and get those buckets that you need. And Jimmy Butler, he'll kill you on both ways. Get after you on the defensive end, and he'll also come after you on the offensive end. So the Bulls have a lot of decisions to make, Rudy. They really do.
Well, they do, and they're not out of it yet. As a matter of fact, they're far from it, owning this series 2-0. You can only imagine what it'd be like. Let's just say we're fast forwarding the offseason. I think the Bulls keep Butler. I also think they re-sign Wade to a 1-year deal. I also think why not? If you're winning with them, why would you deviate from the chemistry? Why would you deviate from the players playing together? They're playing to win, not individuals. I'll give you a good example, and then I'll let you go. When you talk about Russell Westbrook and what he does for the Thunder, or you can talk about what James Harden and what he does for the Houston Rockets, this isn't a one-person show here. I mean, there's a reason why Chicago's the number 8 seed, but they're not playing like it. That's the big difference. That's the big difference. And with the number 1 seed of the Boston Celtics, look, I give credit where credit is due. Boston is in the playoffs. Do they deserve the number 1? No. Are they playing like the number 1? No. Is Cleveland the consummate number 1, the consistent number 1, the one you want to be there? Yes, and they are. And they're doing it.
Sure are.
And they're doing it well.
100% right.
Justin, tell everybody where they can hear you. I know you just did a podcast, episode 11, so congratulations on that.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that, Rudy. So you can find me at Twitter at justblaze_513. Look out for the Above the Rim podcast. I just did episode 11 with my man Stu E. And this NBA podcast is very entertaining and informative NBA podcast. I try to call it how I like to call it to people. It's an audio TV show. That's how I like to describe it. An audio basketball TV show. So everybody look out for the Above the Rim podcast. And Rudy, I appreciate you bringing me on to talk Bulls and Celtics. I appreciate your basketball knowledge, and this is fun. This is great.
Well, you're more welcome to come back on at any point. Just let me know when you're ready because, as you know, the finals start in May. So there's still plenty of time.
Yes, I do.
There's still plenty of time. Justin, thanks a lot, man. It was great having you on.
Thank you for having me, man. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Take care. Hey, go shoot Justin a follow. Okay? Really, you should. At JUSBLAZE_513.
Yes, or just search Above the Rim podcast. You'll find it.
You do that too?
on SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, all of those.
Loaded.
All right.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Justin. Thanks, man. Take care. Welcome to the Rude Dog Show. This is Rudy Reyes.
Hey, Rude Dog, it's Lou.
Lou!
Yes.
How you doing?
All right, but I think the big question on everybody's mind this morning is about the death of Aaron Hernandez.
You know, I'll be honest with you. I've heard about it in the morning, and I did briefly scan over the death of Aaron Hernandez, whether or not it was homicide, whether he did it to himself. In all fairness, I believe the media is giving this way too much attention.
Yeah.
For a lot of reasons. First reason is we have people, and I'm not trying to hop on a bandwagon here, I'm just pointing out the facts, that our own U.S. veterans that commit suicide daily across the country, yet they're not spoken about, they're not talked about, they're not mentioned. So to mention Aaron Hernandez and to give him time, he had all the time in the world. Make no mistake, he made the worst mistake. So
Twice.
Well, no, he was acquitted of the first double murder, but he's still in prison for life. Well, it was for the murder of his sister's boyfriend. So, and that's basically all the time I'm going to give it.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it. Ready to talk some Bulls? Celtics? You're on the East Coast. You know what's going on. Did you watch that last night?
I was more into watching the Rangers Montreal game, and because the Rangers kind of needed that game. Down 2-1, and the back's against the wall, but they came back and have now tied the series, and now we got a series where I got the momentum shift back over to our side.
Well, I'm looking at the Bulls here, and the Bulls own it. The Bulls are owning it right now. They did so many things. We were talking about Derrick Rose and the fact that he was injured. And the last time the Bulls had played, it was against the 76ers. And that Chicago team lost. Why? Because Derrick Rose tore his ACL. Sounds familiar. Very interesting indeed.
Deja vu.
No, I'd say more like Vujade. Because this guy's always injured. Always. Every year, every month, there's something wrong with him. I compared him to Tony Romo. In that, you know as well as I do, that Tony Romo, the king of injuries in the NFL, at the quarterback position, certainly found himself out of the NFL. Why? Because nobody was willing to take a chance on him in that regard.
Why is a guy that is always injured belong playing in the NBA or any sport for that matter?
Well, yeah, you look at Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose is one of those guys where he's very likable. Everybody likes him. I see him in broadcast. I really do. Heck, for that matter, I see myself in broadcast. I'm not an NBA player, nor am I an NFL player. But I'm not there yet. Will Derrick Rose make the transition if for some reason the Bulls don't re-sign him? Maybe give him a year, limited minutes, limited time. I think limited minutes and limited time gives him limited amounts of injuries. What do you think?
I think the less playing time, the better.
Well, does he last, though? I mean, even if you give him a year, do you really give him an opportunity to be injury-free? I don't think so.
No, because he's probably going to get hurt again anyway.
So, why? Well, then why would you? There's absolutely no reason why you'd give him another opportunity. Look, the bottom line is this. When we talk about being a spectator of the NBA, because the only ones that are spectators is basically everybody else, including the audience in those respective arenas, broadcast media also, the very same thing. All spectators. Now, do we as spectators of the sport known as the NBA used to, I don't know, maybe throw a cliche around or two? Maybe. Can we simplify the way we view efforts on the hardwood, or are we stuck stating that the performances were just not good enough?
I think we're stuck with it. The performances were just not good enough.
You're right. Probably. The other team made them look very, very bad. Was it transition defense? Was it boards? Was it, daggers from the three-point land like the Warriors have done? Is it gritty inside game like the Utah Jazz? There's so many varieties. Do you believe the players are good enough?
So far.
Do you believe that the players are good enough, or do you believe that we're always used to cliches like, well, that team was just much better, or they were just not good enough?
I think we're more used to the cliches. I use a lot of them myself.
I think everybody uses a cliche every now and again.
Off air, though.
Well, that's good. Good to know. Good to know, Luke. Good to know.
You should hear me sometimes.
I don't know. I'm afraid. I'm afraid to know what that's going to be like on the offset, disconnected from the show. But the million-dollar question is this. Are the teams in the semifinals of the playoffs, despite seeds similar to that of the NFL, where you're in the postseason and you start over again at 0-0? What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, we all start off again at 0-0 once the playoffs come around, and anybody can get hot at that point. I mean, because the Bulls have gotten hot, Pacers have shown a little strength in their series against Cleveland. I'm not too crazy about Portland's prediction of trying to beat the Warriors. That's not going to happen.
No, the Warriors are too deep. I've spoken about this on the show a myriad of times.
Damian Lillard was probably smoking weed when he said those comments.
I don't know. Somebody who thought that the Blazers would beat the Warriors in 4 or 5. Right now, the Warriors are playing with a different look because they have Kevin Durant making the blocks making the passes? Does he legitimately stay healthy the rest of the regular season and travel through Portland? I'm not going to say that Portland's going to be the easy battle because they're not. But does Kevin Durant stay healthy in the next series?
I don't know. Here's the question: Do you think they can win the title without Durant?
You know what? Defensively, no. Defensively, no. Why? Because they're a different team. They have a different mindset, a different approach, a different game plan without Kevin Durant. Now, look, I'm not going to say the Warriors are pretenders because they went in to the playoffs on a 15-plus game streak. They're used to not having Durant. But yet, when Durant's on the floor, and you sit Steph Curry out, or maybe you could even sit Draymond Green out to go with a taller, more athletic lineup. Don't get me wrong, Draymond Green won the conversations in regards to being the defensive MVP for the season, yes. But when you talk about scoring, when you want defense and scoring, Kevin Durant does that. He does it for you. And he does it consistently. That's one of the reasons why he left a very hurt. When I see hurt as in ran over by a truck hurt. The pain of leaving Oklahoma, where tornadoes are rampant and the weather's inclement, to sunny Northern California. To a team that's going to utilize him, and utilize him they have. But his health seems to be in the question. Does Kevin Durant stay healthy? And if so, do you foresee him back with the Golden State Warriors?
Honestly, no.
Then where does he go?
That's a tough one.
Does he join his buddy James Harden back in Houston?
No, I think everyone would love that. The question is, though, is Houston be willing to take him back? And how would the fans react? Because they think, oh, he jumped to the Golden State. He's a traitor. The thing is, if he does go back to Houston, will anybody accept him back?
Well, the bottom line is this: is that look, this is a business. This is a business, just like the NFL, just like the NHL. This is business.
Right.
You're going to go where you're going to get paid. Case in point, yesterday, two-time Gold Glove winner in Major League Baseball was drugged in. He will not be able to play in postseason. He's on a restricted list and will take a $2.5 million non-pay. That's a lot of money for a bad decision. It's a poor decision.
It was a poor decision.
And had nothing to do with health. He was healthy as an ox. But what's even more interesting is that it was very timely. The fact that Major League Baseball decided to pull him in for testing says that, well, you're putting up pretty good numbers here. Was it random? Well, Major League Baseball will say it's random. I say there's some legitimacy to that as well.
80 games, right?
Correct.
Yes, I was reading that yesterday.
It could be more. So he'd be available sometime in July.
Oof.
That's a long time.
How was no security for that?
Well, again, we're talking about the actions, equal or opposite reaction. And when I look at this Warriors team, they made the right action. They made the right move. They acquired the guy that has been doing the work when he's healthy. Biggest question, does Kevin Durant stay with the Warriors after the season has expired? I don't know. I'd like to think so. I think Kevin Durant and Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and the list of others on that team have built something special. Do I think they'll be in the finals against Cleveland again? Yeah. Yes, I do. I believe you'll have two of the same teams back again to do the very same thing. But the X factor is Kevin Durant. Will he see limited time to prevent further injury? Probably. I don't see why not. It's not as if Steph Curry's not dropping it, Thompson's not dropping it, Draymond Green's not being a defensive juggernaut. Sit him when you need to. You need him in the next round, assuming they'll get there. But I think they will. I do. I really do. Look, another...
They will.
I think there are some strides where all teams are in the postseason in the NBA right now to separate themselves. Separate themselves from an athletic standpoint. Russell Westbrook doesn't like talking to the media. Okay, fine, so he doesn't. Big deal. Everybody else seems to not have a problem with the media but Russell Westbrook. Because guaranteed he's going to be asked, well, do you feel that you're going to be the NBA MVP? Ooh. I wouldn't want to be asked that, especially when you have two or three other people in the same conversation. Kawhi Leonard for the Spurs, doing it defensively. Russell Westbrook. Well, we were talking about Russell Westbrook. James Harden. Doing the absolute best. Triple doubles, scoring points at will, 3-point shots on the perimeter, just doing it and doing it well.
Yes.
I think it's more about them trying to prove themselves rightfully deserving of being in the spot they're at now versus listening to people like me in the media or somebody else happened to be a part of the media to say they're not going to be there. They will fall down. They will fall apart. They don't want to hear that. Guys like Russell Westbrook wants the MVP. Now, he may not get it. Well, he may.
I think he will. I still think he will.
Well, the votes are in. So I want to see if he has done enough to outshine Harden and Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah,
Those are the top three guys. You know what I'd like to see? And I'm not a player fan. As I said yesterday on the Rude Dog Show, I'm an NBA fan. So when I see somebody who's committing to both sides of the hardwood, committing to the points they need to, passing the ball unselfishly to others to make the play, that's Kawhi Leonard. Period. Because as I said in the first segment with Justin Blaze, that it's all about James Harden being the number one guy in Houston, Russell Westbrook being the number one guy in Oklahoma. But you don't see flashy. You either have one flashy guy playing on a team, making the difference, being the difference maker, or you have a group like the Chicago Bulls that are playing collectively with freakishly awesome plays and scoring on those plays. I mean, you could try to go for a slam dunk, and that's fine. Draymond Green tried it the other night, and he failed. It looked pretty. It looked pretty, but that was about it. He didn't take it to the hole when he needed to. So something to be said for being a flashy player and being effective, or being part of a flashy group of players that are playing at a very high level. So you own a series right now, 2-0, big deal. If you're the Bulls, you play as if you've won none of them. But the reality is that you currently own the series against the number one seed. Ouch.
Shocking, isn't it?
You know, I'll be honest with you. I'd like to say that I was shocked how Chicago has won so far. They've won it with defense. They've won it by unselfishly passing the ball and executing the plays when they needed to, making those points count where and when they need to. Free throw line, 3-point line, from the field. And so far, Chicago has got me feeling, well, superstitious. Could Chicago do it? I don't know. We're going to find out. But I need to take a quick commercial break. I need to pay the bills around here because I want to be here for a while to come. Anyway, need to take a quick break. This is Rudy Reyes of the Rude Dog Show at WBLZSports.com. I'll be right back.
This is the sheet. It's me all revved up. My face is now red. My ears are just freaking boiling.
He's so raw. The Sky hates it.
Yeah, he had 51 touchdowns. 4,900 total yards.
I know y'all like that, but I got to run. I know you Alabama like that, but I have to say.
They're so good, man. They would win the Big Ten if they were in the Big Ten. Could be doing something vision-based in front of you and reach down and grab a handful of insane goodness.
Give it to him. Kudos. I'm clapping like a golfer. Very good, Johnny. I'm proud of you.
Wow, you guys agree on something again? I'm very impressed. You ever had a bad week? You know, just you walk outside, step in a boat, like right when you walk outside, right outside the house. Or you stand on the curb and somebody drives by and splashes water up on you. Or it's just raining on you, not anyone else.
I will tell you, before you go any further, I cannot hear Chad when he speaks.
Good. Here, listen to the sheet, man. I don't really know what we're doing.
Every Saturday morning, 8 to 10 a.m. right here on WBLZ Sports.
Whether it be your industrial, commercial, or residential needs, Gen Service is the electrical contractor for you. The Gen Service team has the expertise, commitment, and educational years to help you solve all your electrical concerns. They have you in their best interest with helpful suggestions to accommodate your every want. Give them a call, no matter the size of the job, at 740-438-7173. Mention WBLZ Sports, and you'll get a discount. That's Gen Service, 740-438-7173.
Hey everybody, this is Robin Vandenberg from Bump and Run and Sports and Shiz, and you're listening to WBLZ Sports, where we've got balls.
Can we just get a made-up play call from you with Ben Roethlisberger going to Antonio Brown for a touchdown and taking it in for a score?
All right, Ben Noddle looks left, looks right, communicates, steps back into the shotgun. The Angelo to his right. Here's the snap. He's back. He looks straight over the middle. There goes Antonio Brown. He's loose, and he is going.
Kevin Green to Steel Nation Live. Kevin, great to have you on our show.
Outstanding. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Good to be on the show.
Join Sanders Tisdale and James Owen and co-host Jeff Reed as we talk to some of the biggest names in Steel Nation Live sports out there. Check us out every Tuesday night, 6 to 7 p.m. only on WBLZ Sports, the only sports show out there that has balls.
WBLZ Sports, we got balls. There's no sponsors your balls.
Welcome back to the Rude Dog Show. This is Rudy Reyes on WBLZSports.com. Yeah, WBLZ Sports has it all, and you want it, you got it. Soccer, wrestling. If you like wrestling, I don't know. I'm a UFC wrestling kind of guy, not the WWE wrestling. But anyway, you can find every single show on WBLZSports.com. Download the app. It's on Google, iTunes. You can even get it on the RudeDogShow.com. See how giving I am. I give these things away. Oh, but wait, it's free. So there you go. That's one reason why I'm giving it away. Anyway, welcome back to the Rude Dog Show. This is Rudy Reyes on WBLZSports.com. Make sure you download the app. Check out the other half of the show. I need to give props where props is certainly due, and that is to this upcoming draft. And when you have guys like Anthony Gilbert at new-game-plan.com, it makes you wonder, why are there not more guys like him? Certainly want to change your thoughts, your visions, your views in relation to what a sports agent is designed to do versus what's actually done. Look, we both know there are ugly sides to the agent business. There's It's not a big secret. It's not a under the rug type conversation. It's real, and it's there. That struggle is real. If you're struggling as a D2, D1 guy, certainly contact Anthony Gilbert at New-Game-Plan. Of course, he does tweet every now and again. Not a big tweeter. So you may want to check him out on the website and contact him, especially if you're trying to get into the NFL. But he also provides sustainability programs as well to keep your finances in tune and in check. So that way, when you do retire from the NFL, you have a plan. So new-game-plan.com. Anthony Gilbert can get it done. And thank you for joining me in the other half of the show. I know I ran a little bit over on the first half, but, it is what it is. And that's where we're at here anyway. Welcome back to the Rude Dog Show. Look, Chicago, when you think of Chicago, I think of pizza, right? Chicago-style pizza. And when you're in Philadelphia, you think of a cheesesteak, right? Yeah, you're right. You're with me, Lou. Welcome back, Lou, to the show. Lou, what's your last name, Lou?
Tenor.
Tenor. Lou Tenor.
Tenor, silent E.
Or silent B. Okay, I remember that. What do you...
Well, everybody gets it. If they don't get it, they're going to get it wrong.
Okay. Fair enough. I'll have to write that down on a note.
Good.
When you think of Pittsburgh, you think of Primanti Brothers, right? Another sandwich. It's an East Coast thing. When you think of New York, I think of pizza. I don't know why. New York pizza, Chicago pizza, which one's better? I don't know. I haven't been to Chicago and have a slice, so I wouldn't know. But the Eastern Coast is called pizza pot. Or they could have gotten that from Italy. I don't know. Either case, when you think of Chicago, you think of pizza first. Or maybe the Blackhawks, and they're not doing so well either. Ouch. That's NHL. But the Bulls shot 51% from the floor overall. That deserves a slice for each one of those guys for free from a pizzeria in Chicago. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. All 5 of its stars, including a guy by the name of Paul Zipser. Yeah, okay. All had double figures, and they came out with a defensive strategy to prevent Boston from basically shooting anywhere they wanted to. They were highly contested. And when you think of the Celtics to the regular season, they had done much more than 10 for 33 as they did last night. Historically, they've been very good from the perimeter. Very good. But when you talk about the depth of this Celtics team, I think to myself, well, what change is going to have to happen in order to help us come back from this 0-2 deficit? Zero. Zilch. Nada. Goose egg. Donut hole. Nothing. Against Chicago team that I believe at some point even Chicago didn't think they were going to be there. I truly believe that when you look at the Chicago Bulls, look, injuries take a toll. Mentally, not only for yourself individually, but on a team collectively. You lose players that are key to your... I'm not saying that Derrick Rose was, superiorly key and without him you couldn't win it. It's like saying that you needed to have Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant in your starting lineup or they were not going to win a title. That's different. That's different. Because Kobe Bryant had been very, very consistent his entire year. This very last year, he was consistent, injured or not, he was there. But ACL tear, MCL tears, those things can really creep up on you. And I believe that even when, and I'm not bashing Derrick Rose by any stretch of the imagination, but what I'm saying is that when a guy needs to call it a day, he needs to call it and call it fast. Because right now, Father Time is against him, and you cannot beat Father Time. You can extend it. You can give Father Time an IOU if you want. You can pass the buck. You can state a little white lie if you want to. But eventually, Father Time is undefeated, and he will nab you when you're not looking.
Some people just don't get that, though. They think they can go on forever.
Well, it's not a matter of just mentally being able to go forever. there's also the physicality aspect to it that helps you believe that you can't, based on your production. Everybody's held accountable for their own production. Whatever they put up, whatever numbers, field goals from 3, passing percentages to turn into points. I don't even think that's something that's trivialized nowhere near as much as it probably could be. Transition points due to passing. How often are they going to make those shots? There's no way to really tabulate that. It could be a stat, but look, we're filled with stats, and sometimes we get a little sick of them in sports. I'll be honest with you. You kind of go a little bit too in depth and kind of leave it, status quo. Just leave it alone, let it be. It is what it is. However, when you look at what's being tabulated in football as a complete polar opposite, there are so many more stats that the NBA probably wouldn't even bother addressing. Don't even want to talk about. You have your stats, we have ours. That's where separation occurs, and that's where we're at right now. End of story. But when you look at the Bulls, I-U, I-O-U, I don't know, throwing that out there.
I before E.
Except after C, yeah, I get it. Butler came through big time. Big time. It's a Butler sighting I didn't think I was going to see in the postseason, to be honest with you. He had 22 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, but made 1 3. Well, you can't shoot him for trying. You can shoot him for probably not making all the other ones that he wanted to make but failed to make. I don't know. Another famous Bull had that conversation as well. Michael Jordan. The great Michael Jordan had that conversation. But Chicago, as a team, nailed it. They knocked down 10 triples. 10. Some say, well, that's not that bad, and okay, it's justifiable. But you don't expect that from this Bulls team. You expect for them to come through in the clinch. All things considered, they've been doing it all season long. Yeah, so they lost some along the way. Everybody does. All great teams will lose games that they didn't really want to lose. It happens. It's a team sport, ladies and gentlemen. A team sport.
Well, now, how could you argue someone's going to come back? Somebody's about to beat you anyway.
Well, you can't win them all the time. I like to use NFL as a reference, and the New England Patriots as a very good example of that. Why? Because they went 15-0 heading into the Super Bowl against the New York Football Giants. They were 15-1 by the end of the contest.
Right.
So it doesn't matter how perfect.
They were unbeaten in the regular season. They went all through regular season unbeaten, got to the Super Bowl, and then lost in the final seconds.
Mm-hmm. And that's all it takes is a second. Second in the NBA, second in the NHL, second in the NBA, seconds. That's all it takes are seconds. Seconds to lose, seconds to win. But when you look at big-time plays, big-time playmakers, this Bulls team is filled with them. The biggest question is whether or not they can stay consistent enough to make this a 3-0. If they make this 3-0, I'm saying it right now as it is. If they make this series a 3-0, they will take it and sweep the Celtics. I just don't believe the Celtics have enough. Matter of fact, I had Oliver Maroney on yesterday, along with Coach Dave Dufour, and I gotta tip my hat. Oliver, you're right about last night's game against the Clippers, where they really did not struggle defensively. They certainly put on a display of defenship. No, that wouldn't work out. But defensively, they did it, and they did it well against a very scrappy Utah Jazz club. You said they were lucky. I still don't. First of all, I don't believe in luck, so you can throw that out the window. But what I do believe is in defense. Now, you could say defense wins championships. Okay. That probably more so applies to the NFL. I had this conversation yesterday with Oliver Maroney and Coach Dave Dufour. But the Clippers' defense stiffened when it needed to, and now tie up the series against the Jazz 1 apiece. However, something about watching the Clippers, and again, I'm in the LA market. They're probably an hour away from where I'm at least Staples Center is, and clearly the Lakers are not in it. And the Clippers are. I was looking at prices for tickets for the Clippers. I'm kind of embarrassed. And looking at some of the prices. $60 for nosebleeds. $120. This is no, I'm not kidding you. You can Google it, whatever you want. But near floor seats behind one of the hoops, $160 a ticket. That's cheap. That's cheap.
Yeah.
They should be more. Are you kidding me? This is Staples Center. This place has everything. And maybe you can stop by and say hello to Shaq with his bronze statue out front. Or maybe you can stop by and say hello to one of the greatest sportscasters of all time. I just still don't believe that the Clippers will play well enough as the game switches to a very volatile Utah Jazz environment. Now, don't forget, Utah Jazz 29-12 at home during the regular season. That's good. And that's in the Western Conference. They're third in the Western Conference. Makes you wonder if the Celtics can really pull it off. Excuse me, if the Clippers, got me with the whole C thing. C, cat, run, C, cat, jump. But the Clippers, I just don't know that they can do it. And because we're talking about a losing streak, and before last night's game against the Jazz, the Clippers were 0-1. Now they're 1-1. So they call it even. But when you're playing in Utah in a blue-collar environment as it is in Utah, I just don't believe that the Jazz will be singing the blues anytime soon, because I think they'll take Game 3. I think they have too much. Okay, fine, so they don't have Gobert. And they won one game without Gobert. What does that mean? Well, that means is that they found a way in Game 1 to beat the Clippers at their own game. Are they solid defensively without Gobert? No, not necessarily. Are they the juggernaut defensively overall on the other end of the hardwood? No, they're not. But they got it done in the first game. They need to go back to the same methodology they used in Game 1 to win Game 1. And if they do, they'll win Game 3. I think the Jazz will take this series. I just think there's something about this Utah Jazz team that I had not seen since the Mailman and Karl Malone. Stockton and Malone. Malone and Stockton, these guys were the epitome of a losing duo on a losing side of a Jazz team that has never won a title. How'd that happen? With as dynamic as those guys are, they failed and did not win a championship together? That's a crime. That's a crime. But Oliver, I have to tell you, you were right on the defensive aspect of what they need to do to step up in Game 2. But again, I just don't believe that you're going to find the type of the same type of mentality, defensive mentality that you did in Game 1 in Game 3. There are three key guys that I want to discuss here, going back to the Chicago Bulls and what they're doing right now. Somebody put a time machine inside of the locker room in Chicago yesterday because Dwayne Wade and Rajon Rondo stepped right in it. Dwayne Wade was the best down the stretch that I've seen him since his early days with the Heat, or even when LeBron James was there to compete for a title for which they won collectively. But he helped stretch the Bulls' lead even further with double-digit scores. Not bad for an old man. Or is he that old? No, he's on the wrong side of 30. That doesn't mean he can't do it. That means that every year after year after year, there are going to be guys climbing up trying to take his spot. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. There's no question. There's no way around it. Nikola Mirotic, 13.7 rebounds. Of course, the aforementioned Zitzer, 16 points. Robin Lopez. Not enough conversation about that guy. Why? Because he's basically known for defense. Well, that's what he's known for in this game as well. Interior depth. He dominated the glass. He prevented would-be players to come in. Boston just didn't have an answer for Robin Lopez. That's all there is to it. But his rebounds, his consistent paint presence to put the ball back when he needed to and how he needed to, he got it done. Robin Lopez, 18 points, 8 rebounds. The guy's a juggernaut on the inside. And when he gets hot, he gets hot. Dwayne Wade gets hot, he gets hot. Mirotic gets hot, he gets hot. Jimmy Butler, the list goes on and on and on. Now look, I'm not trying to explode Bulls fans' heads around here, but I will say this. Will they get out of the Eastern Conference to the finals? No. No. They won't. Cavaliers are too good. Too good. An 8 seed beating a 2 seed? It's a long road traveled. But will they make it? That remains to be seen. A lot of basketball to be played, at least as of yet. Lou, thank you for joining the show. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
And you can more likely call in tomorrow.
Yeah, I tried to get through yesterday, but I couldn't get through.
I had a lot of callers. I just couldn't get to it, unfortunately. But tomorrow's a different day. And tomorrow will always be a different day. So, all right. Thanks, Lou. Appreciate it. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, Lou from the East Coast. Thank you, Lou. Appreciate you basically following me here in the show. Anyway, hats off to Justin Blaze. Thank you very much. Go shoot him a follow. This podcast will be loaded. Actually, a live show will be turning into a podcast on the RudolphShow.com. Make sure you tune in for that. I'll spread it out as soon as I can. This video podcast will be on the RudolphShow.com. You can find me on SoundCloud. I'm trying to get on iTunes. Not the easiest thing to do, but I'm certainly doing my best to make it happen. JohnMalecki.com. He turned your furniture dreams into a reality. Go visit JohnMalecki.com. I'm looking for sponsors for the RudolphShow.com so I can take what I do to the next level, be a part of something that's growing. It's fast. It's dynamic. Get your business known. Shoot me an email. Go to the RudolphShow.com/about. Contact us. Shoot me an email if you have any questions. Engage with me as well. If I use it on the air, I'll find some in my chest of goodness to send over to you. Anyway, thank you so much. This is Rudy Reyes of the Rudolph Show at WBLZSports.com. I'll see you tomorrow.